Hey guys, Jim Graves here. Just working on my top 100, trying to go over my pods that I've done so far. They're pods of 20 basically. So you'll get 20 a day on that. But just kind of going over it to see if out of these 20, if there's any that I want to move up into different places or move back down or anything, just review, basically. So, but this is probably going to go on like my raps and rants, you know. I do have to wrap some books later, so it's a little bit of a pain, but we'll get there. So, yeah. Anyway, it was hard to get here. Now it's kind of a little hard to rearrange too. Um, you know, and there's another video already out for my shout outs. Well, not shout outs, but my top 100. Well, my honorable mentions, basically. And, those ones didn't change at all. But we're just going over basically our list, seeing if we want to change anything, if we want to move it up, if we want to put it down, anything like that. So that's really all that's going on right now. But I do have you guys, so if I think of anything random, I'll probably just say it. So So, I went to my friend's house the other day, and we played the Super Dungeon Explorer game that I'm kind of posting some videos on. And nobody's posting any kind of comment on that, which I've mentioned it multiple times. It's really frustrating whenever you're trying to see if you want to play a game. Like, if think about it as like a video game. If you wanted to play a video game and all you saw was like the box, and maybe like some gameplay pictures, but you don't exactly know what it is, that's kind of annoying. And so there's not really that many out there. So since I started getting into it, I kind of decided that, I would do some videos on it. Just of how the characters play, some other ones. There might be some long ones of like mine and my friends playing. But it's a game, kind of like a game where you roll dice and stuff, and all that. You go through the dungeon, and for the love of my friend, he basically sat there and kept trying to roll to kill off some of my characters, because I played the heroes and he played like the monsters and stuff. He kept missing it really bad. And he's like, I don't know. I think you jinxed the dice. Da-da-da. So, yeah, but I mean, you can't say anything about that. It's like, I'm just lucky. So, it was pretty funny. We got through most of it and then ended up quitting because I think we ended up playing it like 5 hours. And we only got through like half. Maybe a little more than half, but not much more than that. So it was kind of a pain in the butt doing that, and we were right there, and I think we started like 8, or 7, 1 or 2. We went for dinner first, because he's like, "Oh, I want you to try this new place with me." I was like, "Sure." So we went over there and tried the place and came back, and it just, we played like from whatever time to like 2 in the morning. I was like, oh my god, I'm so tired. So it's pretty bad. That was 2 days ago. So, but I'm thinking, I have my PS3 in this room. Thinking I might either try and play some games on that, or see about maybe um, buying one of the games that's on this on the PS4 that's in my room. Um, I don't know. The only one I can really get on there though, guys, is like Akihabara Strip that I actually know that I enjoy. Maybe like one of the Samurai Warrior games. I know they have a bunch of those, but I don't like playing the traditional games anymore. I would just Samurai Warriors or the other ones. Um, I can't remember what they are right now. But it's Samurai Warriors and something else. And so anyway, they combined the games and made this series called Warriors Orochi. Um, and so that one usually has all the characters up to date and then some. And so I think if I get one of those, that's the one I'm going to get. But I don't know yet because I might be able to get it on the disc version better and cheaper than I can on the PSN store because, they don't usually lower their prices. But, I'll have to figure something out because I love Fallout. I do. But I'm getting to the point where there's like nothing left for me to do on it. And so all I've been doing is Fallout 4 is like building the settlement stuff. But it gets a little tiring after a while. So, that's really all I can do. And none of the creatures like really give me a challenge. Really wish we'd have like another, and I think I've mentioned this before. Wish we'd have like another DLC come out for it. Mods and stuff are cool, but it's not like a storyline you're gonna get. Like anything that's really in depth that you're gonna be able to play for a long, long time or anything like that. So, that's really the only upsetting part about that, I guess. So, but we'll figure something out. They do still have content coming out, so I still have hopes. But yeah. Let's see. Got some curtains up in one of my other rooms. We didn't have curtains in there, and we just had the really wide window, and so we finally got that done yesterday. It's real nice. But yeah, there's not really like too much. I kind of took a break from reading manga last week. I probably read like a couple, but me being the goober that I am, I still carried my bag of manga to work every day in hopes of reading some, and I was like, it's heavy. Because there's probably like 30 or, well, not 30, but there could be, maybe. I haven't counted it last, but I know with all of them being loose and stuff, I can get like 20, 25 in there. So there could be 30 in there. I don't think it was that much, but there were a lot of heavy books in there too. Because I took a little break from prison high school, but I still left like 3 volumes in my bag. Because I'm like, well, if I start reading it again, I might as well leave them in there. Because I'm kind of at the middle of the omnibus form of one of them. And I'm like, I'll get back to it. So, pretty crazy. I need to wrap some of my other ones in here. And Shifty Bud, if you're watching this, we need to figure out what manga you want. That way I can finish this giveaway and get you that first volume of that series. So, but yeah, Shifty, if you're watching it, you were my Patreon giveaway winner. So just make sure to leave me a comment or something. And you can basically get any first volume of any series, as long as it was a series that I read during the Spartan Challenge. So stay tuned for that. Let me know in one of the videos or an upcoming video or something soon. That way I can get that ordered and have them send it in one of my next ones. Because I don't know how long it'll be really for them to ship it to me. Right Stuff just like they sent me a good amount of stuff, like my regular like order that I get. You know, usually I'll get like 2 orders or 2 hauls kind of in like a week, and then there will be like a pause period, and then I'll get 2 more the next following week. And I guess the shipments came in early. There were volumes that weren't even supposed to come in until like the end of the month, and they've already started coming in. So I was looking at that. I was like, man, I got like 20 volumes that aren't even supposed to come out till the end of the month that are already getting shipped to me. So really cool stuff though. I love it. They are very quick on their feet, and their customer service is really good. I'm actually talking to them right now, you know, about something, but it's secret hush hush. So I don't want to make a big deal out of it in case it doesn't happen. If it does happen, then everybody will know. If it doesn't, then I don't want to put too much information out there, so it can just kind of, you know, slide under the rug if it doesn't happen. If it does, we'll totally blow up the internet with it. So, but yeah, you know, and then I have the other giveaway going on right now, which is all, you make your YouTube video, you know, give me a shout out in your video, put my name in the title of your video. You know, you can put with Jen Graves, for Jen Graves, anything like that. If you've already done one, then don't worry about making another one because you're already in the poll or the running or whatever. And then, you know, be subscribed to me, basically. And that's it. If you have already done one, then just, like, send me a thing on one of my videos that you've put a video up. I do check every couple of days, really, to see if there's a new, I guess, Jen Graves video up. Besides mine, obviously. But just so I can see if somebody else has done that, so I can kind of add their name into the drawing. So, anyway, and anybody can get into that. If you make any videos, just do that and give me a shout out, you know. And it can be any kind of video. It doesn't really have to be a manga video, as long as you give me a shout out and that. So, any of you guys that, you know, like my poetry people, or my model people, or my Funko people, or my video game people, I mean, any of you guys can just do that. It doesn't have to be a manga video. So, I didn't know if a lot of people didn't know that or not, but yeah. So, but yeah, working on this top 100. Kind of tried to do this like 4 times, and I keep like looking at my list and like, do I want to move that? Oh yeah, kind of. No, I don't. You know, so I've probably looked at moving stuff around like 3 or 4 times and just had to put it down because I'm like, oh, I don't want to move anything, but I do, but I don't. So kind of crazy. But yeah, some of these are new, which is good. So, you know, like the first volume maybe really impressed me enough to say that had something that really pulled me in with the first volume. You know, some of these are like ongoing. Some of these are finished. I have a couple that are hiatus completed. I think I have one that might be on hiatus. Not sure, but they're all good. They're all different, diverse stuff. Um, stuff that I love, and ones that I've talked about before. So, hopefully, though, you'll watch this. I have some people that will comment on my videos and say, "I can't wait for your list to come out," because Anime Man is doing his top 100 list of like everybody on subscribers, and all that, just for like the whole like thing for everybody, and all that, you know. But I don't know. I don't know how that'll work out, guys. Because I mean, there's a bunch, and you can't really pick out the best unless everybody's read that. So I wonder if it's going to be like broken up, by how much people have read. Obviously, like Fatal Ferret, me, Manga Hoarder, um, and there's a couple other ones of us that have like a bunch that we have read and stuff. So obviously, we would know which ones we thought were like our top five. Um, but what about everybody that hasn't? Like people that have read just 5 volumes of whatever, or 10 series. You know, none of y'all are at 10 series anymore, or 10 volumes or anything. I mean, as much as I've seen so far, everybody at least has 100 volumes. And that's give and take a couple different series and stuff. I mean, everybody's read at least 5 series or so. But, most of that is kind of swayed. Um, you know, so if you get all those people that vote for like their top 5, and most of it's the same, because, like we talked about in the other video of what kind of collector you are, or manga or you are, is most of them kind of go with what's out right now. So, I mean, I don't think there's really going to be that much diversity. And so that can kind of skew the poll and all that, just because there's not anything to support, you know. But, I mean, I'm doing my top 100 of, like, everything. So hopefully with this, that will give y'all kind of an impression of what ones I've liked, enjoyed. Um, the other thing I have to do in this is I got to go back and basically get all my manga counts for it, if it's completed, where it's at, if it's ongoing, where it's at, that way I can kind of tell you, and if there's more coming out, basically letting you know what it's about and seeing if you want to get into it, because I know volume count can sometimes sway people away from a series, or get people into it depending on how fast it is for you to collect it. Um, because some people don't like to play the long game. I would say that if it's a series that's like Fairy Tail or One Piece or Naruto or Bleach, or even like Case Closed, that you do have to kind of play the long game on, because they're like over 40 books. A lot of people won't get into those, especially if they haven't already been into it before. And some people wait for the box set, and sometimes that can take a while, or the omnibuses. So it just kind of depends. They're not too fast at like printing those out. They usually give them probably close to the end to print one out. I think the fastest one I've ever seen print one out was I just saw it too. I can't remember. but it was like it hit 10 volumes, and they had the first two omnibuses coming out for it, and then they started going and they printed another omnibus, and so now it's like whenever there's 3 volumes, a week later there's an omnibus for it coming out. So it's pretty crazy how fast some of them hold off till the series gets closer to the end, or waits for them to be done and then starts doing it. But this one, whichever one it is, I just can't remember. It's like on the hills. 1 week it says, you'll have volume, we'll say like 31, because 30 would have been an omnibus. So 31 comes out, 32 comes out, 33 comes out like this week. Then the omnibus for 31, 32, 33 comes out next week. Stuff like that. Just, it's pretty crazy. I would have to find that series and let y'all know, because it comes out so fast. I was like, oh my god, that's crazy. And I don't really get that many omnibus, unless it's a series that only has like the omnibus ones, or you can get them with like the classics, which is sorry about that, guys. I'm still trying to get all my yawns out from waking up. But like classic ones for me, Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Rurouni Kenshin, Inuyasha, and I mean, y'all have seen a bunch of my omnibuses already. But old, more classical ones, I would say Trigun, ones like that, I would say are more of a classical series to enjoy and read, over other ones, especially with new ones coming out and stuff. As an omnibus, they're really great because you get all that instead of trying to go back and collect the singles. There are a couple other ones like that I probably would have preferred to collect back in the day, but can't really do that per se. So let's see. I had some news too, but I can't. Let me think about it. Oh, last week. So, I'll tell you this horrifying tale. It was just complete crap. I hated it. And this is one of the struggles that I had to go through, which was just bad. And it's not life struggles, it's manga struggles. So, I got basically the last, the only 10 volumes you could get of Knights of Sidonia from Right Stuff, and they ended up telling me like 5 or 6 of the volumes all lit up right on their screen, because I bought the last volumes of all 6 of those that they had in their warehouse. So I got those, and so I was trying to figure out where can I get the other volumes that I need. And so I looked in Amazon. There was one that was like $100, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that, but I might have to do that at some point. I'll have to figure it out. So then I went on there and went to go get, I looked around at like Barnes & Noble and Books A Million and everything, and all these other places that were stores that should have it. And they were like, well, you can get a digital form and have it, but most likely we don't have it. And then I looked at Books A Million, and Books A Million had it, and they said, yeah, we can get it to you for $12 or whatever it was on their website. And I went on there and I got them all, and I was like, oh yeah, there's these 5 that I can get, and I don't have to worry about it or anything. Well, I bought those, and it was like over a month and a half ago. Well, 2 weeks ago, at my month limit for it or whatever. They sent me an email and said, we can't do that. We don't have them anymore. Da, da, da. So I was like, well, I'm just going to have the series that sit on the shelf, incomplete, everything. So I started just looking around everywhere. Where can I get it for cheap? One of the volumes on Amazon went down, and I was like, oh yeah, well I can buy that one. Well, then I look over on eBay, and somebody's got it for sale, like the whole series for pretty cheap. Which I hated that they didn't really do the research. If you do it off of Amazon or whatever, with everything together, guys, the the series itself right now, with everything, is worth somewhere between $400 and $450, which is just insane. And it's like one volume, $400. One of the other volumes is $60. Two of the other volumes are 30 something, and then the other one was like 25. And then it fell down to being like the normal price. So I guess there was a cache of those found somewhere. But so we got it for, I think, like a little over $150, maybe like 160 something, 170 in there somewhere. And so we got that, and I was like, oh wow, this is really good. But I already have 10 of them, so I'm probably going to turn around and try and sell off those 10 that I don't need. So yeah, I mean, that's really all that you can do, is sell off old ones that you don't want and or need, especially because I already have them. But it's just kind of hectic how people want to skyrocket prices so bad with that you have to get it that way. I do find that there should be like a value in it, but like with my job, we have a value, and then we have like a tax that comes off of that or whatever, but it's always smaller. So I feel like that's kind of how it should be. You can buy it cheaper than what it's actually worth, basically. Obviously, but then you're gonna have to go with the stocks and bonds, kind of look at it where it rises, and you want to sell it then, and you want to buy it when it gets low. Well, I'm not going to sell it, so I just want to buy it low all the time. But there are just some crazy stuff with some manga. And as I'm getting closer and closer to my my goal, my milestone, it's just kind of like crazy. Because there's other series that I'm looking at, and I'm like, I really want to get those before I get there, because then I'm gonna have to try and do another like home stretch kind of thing to get up to my next milestone, or my next like half milestone, and that's just kind of crazy because of how how far you have to go for some of that stuff. So, but yeah, wish I had like a big room or whatever, bigger than just your average size room. Or, if you've seen Breaking Bad, I've always, when they showed this one part in Breaking Bad, I've always wanted it. These people have like a big mansion house, and if you've seen Breaking Bad, it's his friends that live like in the condo on the hill. And well, it's not a condo, it's just like a big house, glass and stuff, covering like 4 of the walls and all this different stuff, nice furniture, all of it. Well, in the backyard they had a little bitty house built, nothing too big. I would say it's probably more like a 2-story like shed that you can get from like a Home Depot, or a Lowe's or something like that, a hardware store. that sells, like pre-made sheds. And they just had like, but it was nice. It looked like a little house out there behind their house. Really um, like I think it was probably like birch wood. Instead of dark wood. I don't know. I mean, they could have stained it. But they had that, and then you went inside, and it was just all like hardwood, everything. There was a little like spiral staircase to get to the top floor, and then it was just kind of like one thing around, the top, and then the regular things, where you can slide down the aisles to get to the top of the bookshelf, stuff like that. It was really cool. So, seeing that was something that I was like, I really want something like that. Especially put tables in there like a library or some comfy chairs and use it as like a sitting reading place. Obviously, putting some candles, well, not candles, but lights in there, and that would just be spectacular. So, kind of a own little slice of heaven with manga or whatever other books you wanted to put in there. But if you watch Breaking Bad or have seen Breaking Bad, that's kind of where I got the idea for that. So hopefully at some point, I can like have one of those at some point, or like a giant library, like a basketball, a high school basketball stadium or a middle school basketball stadium, and have that, be really cool or whatever. Goodness, I'd probably have like 100 projects though. If I had it set up like a library at all, there'd probably be something on every table just for me, like a wrapping table, a hobby table, like for painting miniatures, or something, a reading table, probably a table, like a dining room table almost, for food and stuff to like to eat. I don't know, just a big table, or a lot of tables, whatever. So, I don't know. I mean, there could be a lot of different stuff, a lot of different ideas for that. But anyway, so, and then I need to get back on my schedule for reading. I am trying to do, which I have another video kind of talking about it. There's a one that Bizarre Individual is doing. It's really good, where you use it for budgeting, and you have like a jail that you put yourself in, basically to budget your books and stuff. I really think that I'm going to make one of those. I've already kind of been working on some ideas for it, but I don't have them all down pat yet. I need to do that. That way it's not like too easy. I would prefer it to be like harder instead of easier. But I think I'm going to look at mine more of like a game board, and having to move forward to get different stuff, or by doing different stuff, or moving back because goals weren't met or things weren't accomplished, or they just weren't done, and kind of viewing it like that. And maybe at the end of it, we'll do like a thing where, like, I get a prize. That'd be great. So hopefully I can do that, which would be pretty fun. I need to look though, because I think Bazaar's had like 100 little like dots to get to the end of it. I have to see that, because I don't think game boards have like 100 spots. So if I do, I might use go get like a cheap game board or something, or two, and hang them up or something, and use that and put like a something in it so I can travel around the board, whatever. Um, but yeah, so good stuff. I like to imagine it like Candyland map. If you played that game, or because of the whole gel thing, I would say like maybe a Monopoly map. Because there is gel in that. I don't know. There's just a lot of different stuff. So I'll have to figure that out though. I might just use a game board instead of that, and um, have my stuff move through it that way. But I have to figure out what I'm gonna do. So anyway, though, we're getting pretty close to like our almost 40-minute mark. Right now, we're at 36. You think I can squeeze out like another 3 minutes or so? I think I can too. So let me think. I'm not gonna think for like the 3 minutes, but let me think of something to do. Or if I can think of another topic, that would be really nice too. Meditation? No. um, oh. Oh. So, I only have Netflix, don't have anything else. So right now I am watching Haven, and it was showed on Sci-Fi before, and I'm like in the last 6 or last 5 episodes of season 5. And if you know about it, they made it, but every season has been 13, and I guess it got canceled before they made it into a 6th season, and they incorporated it into season 5. So season 5 is 26 episodes long. I'm like right there at 21, 22, something like that. It is a very good show, but I feel like um, I'm at the point now where I'm just like tired of watching the show, because I've just been like watching it kind of straight. I mean, I've taken a couple breaks to finish like Troll Hunter, which is really good by DreamWorks, and trying to do the How to Train Your Dragon, the Dragon's Edge, the TV show. Kind of trying to do that, especially before the movie comes out, which I think it comes out next year, How to Train Your Dragon 3. So I really want to finish that before, but I'm trying to finish off these other TV shows, and then I have like other TV shows to catch up on, like Supernatural and iZombie. What else do I have? There's a lot. I can't think of them right now. And then I've been watching Nailed It. If you've watched that, it's like us YouTube people or something, that do baking videos on here and stuff. It's funny. I'd love to meet one of those people once and just say, hey, I saw you on Nailed It. Can I shake your hand or something? Just because of how funny that is. And I mean, they give you, I feel like they cut off some of the time in that where you're actually like rushing, but I wonder how long it actually took them to make the cake or whatever they did. So, if you're and I feel like it's only the difference between an experienced person and somebody that only has like a couple of things where they know how to do some of that stuff. I mean, some of the stuff they do with cakes and stuff now is stuff that people like. You know, if you make somebody's birthday cake or whatever, I've never seen anybody like do something like super crazy. There's just like nothing. So it's a little crazy, I guess, unless you know what you're like really hardcore doing to finish it in that time period. But I mean, it's great. Like I said, I'd totally meet any of those people just to say like, hey, I've seen you on Nailed It and da da da. Maybe have a slice of cake or something with them. Something funny. But I mean, it's pretty cool. I think that's it, really. I have some other ones. I'm going to start Green Arrow soon. I'm going to start Flash soon. Kind of the DC shows. I need to watch Luke Cage, number 2, or season 2. Kind of like a handful of stuff. But I might get back on like my old schedule of like reading during the daytime, like at work and stuff, watching TV when I get home from work. So we'll just have to see. Thinking. Oh, so one more bit of information that y'all will love. So the few videos that I've done on like my Saturday job. I own a kettle corn business where we make it's kind of like sweet and salty popcorn. In between like movie theater popcorn where it's like salty and caramel corn. It's kind of what kettle corn is. It's really good. I don't like it because it was fed to me from like 2 to 7, and I was just like, oh, I don't want it anymore. It's not really my cup of tea. So it kind of rolled it out for me as like something to enjoy, but everybody loves it. No, it's really good and stuff, and I guess like everybody just ours is like an 80-year-old recipe from my grandpa when they used to do it, which there's stories back for that. I'll have to tell you all that sometime. And it's got really good roots. Going back to then, I'll tell you one story. So, what they used to do back in the day, and this is how it actually kind of got started, is whenever you went out into the fields to do your harvest and whatnot, you would do that, and by that time, because you were getting close to winter, you would have already fattened up like one of your hogs or something like that. Traditionally, it was a hog. So you would put all the meat and stuff into basically a giant cauldron, and you would boil it and stuff and get all the meat out so that you could prepare it and salt it or whatever you were going to do to have it for that oncoming winter. And basically one person would give up like a hog, or a couple people would give up a couple hogs, and you would share the meat with everybody that was around you basically. And they would all come and help you do the harvest, because back then it was easier for you to do it, but it was almost like a union kind of thing. You might have this guy over here that has a big plot of land and he needs help, and so he helps you do that, and so he pays you from it. Probably with like part of the corn or whatever he's growing, and then from there, you move over to the next person's or whatever. Both of you help that guy, he helped y'all, and then he promises you part of it because he's going to sell it off and all that, and he can't do it by himself. And then they go to yours, and help you out, basically. You know, well, then also as part of it, you know, somebody might put up a hog, everybody might put up a hog or something, and cook, and basically as a community, everybody eats. So that's kind of where part of the roots come from with that. But they would take the hog and they'd put it into a cauldron and basically heat it up. And as you know, pigs are fat, and all the lard and stuff would kind of get cooked out of the pig. And then you'd pull the meat out and everything, and the lard would be scooped out for candles. It would be scooped out for cooking with like the fat, you know, as grease, oil, you know, for like the engines on your tractors, all this different stuff. Or, you know, I'm sure it's gotten weird because if they used it for soap, they probably used it for like pomade, you know, for your hair, just different stuff. So they would scrape all that fat and stuff out. Well, you know, you can't really get all of it out. So what they would do after that is they would take old dried corn, they'd throw it in there with, and it was a little salty, so they would kind of add, I guess, salt to flavor, and then they'd throw some sugar in there. And they'd sit there and they would cook it until it was all popped up, and everybody, after the harvest and everything was done, besides keeping your meat for the oncoming winter, you would get this little treat of basically kettle corn. So that's kind of where the roots for it lie, which is a fantastic story, I have to say. You know, there's not so much stuff that you actually get that incorporate the tale or like a legend or anything like that. You know, and my grandpa said that they did that way back when, you know, like 80 years, because him and his brothers actually like worked on trying to get some of the equipment that you use today for it. Because before you used to just throw you make a fire underneath the kettle and you'd have to sit there, you know, for however many hours trying to let it basically boil, and you're standing right up against it. So there's a little more protection now. The kettle that we have is actually in a metal box. It's up enough where I can use an oar. You use a boat oar, a wooden boat oar, to spin it. And you do that to move the products and stuff around and heat them up and cook them together. But the fire that's on the inside, we have a pilot light and everything, just like a water heater kind of idea. And then there's a metal box that gets hot, but it keeps all the regular heat in that. So as long as you don't like back up into it or anything, you know, you're pretty good. And it could like burn you real quick, but it's not going to be anything that like damages you too much. Just like, oh, it's hot. Like getting a bowl or something out of the microwave kind of deal. So, anyway, back to what I was telling y'all. So, we actually went and talked to a bar, that said that they, are highly thinking about, using us as like almost like an appetizer, there. So that's pretty cool. You know, I, being kind of the owner operator, that's fantastic for me. Gives me a couple more hours of cooking though. So, but I mean, it's fantastic, you know. But yeah, that's some of the other good news that I got. Hopefully I can do that and, move forward with it. And, you know, maybe we'll have some other people want to do that later on, or, you know, whatever, just different stuff. So, anyway, though, guys, thanks for listening to my rant and all the different topics, that we talked about and covered, you know. So, anyway, I hope that you will post some more videos. Shifty, get back to me. And I'll be able to get your giveaway to you. Everybody else, stay amazing, because I know that y'all do put out some pretty cool content. And I will catch you guys later. Jen Graves, that's me, signing off. And I will catch you guys later on. Bye.